They're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a Walking Deadcast news update.
Okay, just a few items today. The first is that Walking Dead Season 5 finale will be 90 minutes.
That is really cool. I am so glad.
Yeah. Did you know that already?
I did not know that.
Me too. I want more.
Yeah, and that makes sense. For a finale, you want it to take its time.
A big event.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Next, 9 buildings in downtown Grantville, which was the setting for Season 3 episode Clear, where they found Morgan and everything, are for sale on eBay.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Jim Sells, the former mayor, bought those buildings in a foreclosure deal about 4 years ago during the recession, and now they're selling it, and it's a starting bid of $680,000.
I wonder if because it was featured on The Walking Dead, if it gets some sort of bump.
I wonder, yeah. I mean, it seems like it's a economically challenged area, but it's good for filming, in part because there's nothing to disrupt there. James and Eric were joking they should do a Kickstarter and buy it, and I'm like, I could see James doing that almost. It'd be interesting. But anyway, the zombie traps are not included. Andrew Lincoln from an interview with Hollywood Reporter. He says, there are astonishingly brilliant and thrilling characters that I'm convinced we would be idiots not to meet in our journey. And I would be very surprised if we don't see Negan on the horizon in the not too distant future. So there's
what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a character from the comics.
Okay.
But it's sort of vague and stuff. People just think that this character from the comics will be. I think it's going to be in season 6. Next, apparently the phrase on Rick's badge on his new outfit. I guess this was on Talking Dead.
Yes, it was.
Do you remember?
It's a Latin phrase. And
we shall rise again.
We shall rise again. I don't remember what the Latin is. She said it a couple times and I didn't catch it.
But that's the same thing that the governor said to Andrea, I guess, back in season 3.
That is not good.
They're playing on this theme that Rick might be sort of governor-like. With the governor sound, music.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he just sewed that on his badge.
He did not.
He didn't, probably. Okay. Next, Alexandra Breckenridge, who played Jessie, did an interview on Hollywood Reporter. I only read parts of these, by the way. If you want the full thing, go to their site. But they asked, how much did you know about The Walking Dead when you were cast? Did you read the comics? She said, I didn't know anything. I hadn't watched the show before. I'd watched the pilot a long time ago, which I enjoyed, but I wasn't into the blood and guts at the time, so I didn't continue watching for that reason. When I got the part, I watched all 4 seasons in a week and was having zombie nightmares.
Good.
How different would you say your Jessie is to her comic counterpart? She's not as much of a wilting flower. She's stronger underneath than she was in the comic. I wasn't going to look at the comics, but curiosity killed the cat, and I wanted to know what happens with her. The character is definitely different, and you'll see that throughout the season. I wouldn't be able to stop, I don't think, either, myself.
So she's ripped from the pages of the comic.
Well, she's pretty different so far. Jessie's one of the first Alexandria residents to befriend Rick. Why? She really just wants to help them. She's an extremely empathetic person. They have a pretty immediate connection. Whether or not that's romantic, I don't know. They just have a connection. So we'll see.
She's married.
Yeah, she's married. They ask, how has this community been able to stave off outside threats for so long? She says, I think it's pretty shocking once you get in there and meet all these people and how they've been able to survive for so long, because there's definitely not a Rick, Daryl, Glenn, Maggie, or Michonne among their group. They definitely don't have a lot of super strong individuals except for Deanna. Everyone else in Alexandria is relatively naive. It's really surprising, and I think it's just dumb luck, to be honest, and those big, thick walls that has kept them surviving for this long.
There's a lot to be said for big, thick walls. By the way, where is Congresswoman Deanna's husband?
He's locked in the basement. Chained up down there. She has to feed him a new Alexandrianite every week. That's the one catch for living in the town. Oh, wait, I wasn't going to say the comics. I'm
no
sorry.
Spoilers.
Tova Feldsha, I guess, who's Deanna, had an interview. They say you're taking over a character. Okay, this is a little spoilery, so if you don't like spoilers, you should move along. But it's not too bad. You should go to the next section. You're taking over a character that was a man in the comics. What kind of conversations did you have with producers about how much of his character attributes Deanna would have? I didn't quote this, but she basically found out she got the part and then was filming like a few days later, so she didn't really have much time.
No.
But she did say, I gave them my point of view about what Deanna represents. She's bringing back a benevolent civilization and what that meant to bring back culture and the possibility of enhancing lives, because all of a sudden you have time to make sure you're not killed. And what happens about Deanna's naivete about that entire situation as it goes on, she has had tremendous luck that their community wasn't attacked by walkers. So she's saying she's naive. That's sort of a hint, maybe.
Yeah.
They say, what kind of a leader is Deanna? Judging from her debut, she seems to know that Alexandria is weak. She says she's the brains, she's the civilized and intelligent and needs bodies and the brawn. And that's why she wants Rick and his band of interesting characters to come into their compound, but not without being vetted first. She needs the muscle and feels that together Rick can give her safety and she can give him culture. A napkin on his table, a shower and a roof over his head, and some relief from fear. As long as these people are not hoodlums, Deanna's here to engender hope of resurrection of civilization.
He doesn't need a napkin as long as he's got his sleeve.
They say, I know, or his shoulder,
his
naked shoulder.
Right.
How much of the comics have you read to prepare for the role? I didn't read the comics. I read all about Hillary Clinton and other great women, Margaret Thatcher. I met her before she was the Iron Lady, and she gave a speech about something, and it was remarkable. Then I looked at my own local representatives in New York, Nita Lowey, a wonderful Democrat who's very alert. I kept looking at people who naturally wanted to give back to the community.
Wow.
Also Hitler. No, I'm just kidding. Rick and Michonne have been given high-ranking jobs as constables within Alexandria. How will their leadership approaches clash with Deanna? She says Deanna allows no guns inside the wall, so that's rough on them. There's part of them where they have so much more battle experience that they think she's taking a terrible chance. As the series progresses, you'll see if Deanna is or if she isn't.
She's taking a chance.
Is.
She is. But maybe there's a great reason why she has to. She doesn't maybe have a choice.
Because the show needs drama when everything gets fucked. That's why.
Yes. Exactly.
Or
Well
maybe
said,
she
sir.
has her own reason. You're right. Okay, that's it for the news. Let's talk about our second sponsor. It's Fracture, who we love.
Yeah,
With
we do.
Fracture, you get your photos printed on glass in vivid color. For a 15% discount, go to fractureme.com and use promo code GAC at checkout. So that's fractureme.com and promo code GAK. So I want to thank you guys who've written in and are enjoying this. One person, I forget who it was, but said that her family members aren't surprised anymore because they just get fractures all the time.
Oh, that's so great.
That might be going a little too far, but if they are enjoying it, then that's fine. They don't need to be surprised.
They're all unique.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I haven't said yet, but if you don't know this, what a fracture is it's a picture and a frame and a mount all in one elegant package. It's your photos printed on glass and it looks really beautiful.
Glowy.
It's glowy kind of, and it's glass, but it's really light. So you don't have to worry about it falling off your wall. I was surprised at how light it is, but it also feels durable. It's super easy to hang because it has this nice black kind of corky backboard with a little hole in place for a place to hang it. I think you can also get a stand mount if you want.
Yeah.
On there.
Yeah.
As you pointed out last week, Mother's Day is coming up in a couple of months. And then Father's Day. These are great. I'm going to get one for my mom, probably get one for my grandma too, because she, for some reason, expects gifts on Mother's Day. Man, I sound like a bad grandson. There's no Grandma's Day, so I'm going to get one for my grandma.
You better hope she doesn't listen to this.
She doesn't listen. My mom will. She'll laugh. And I was thinking about getting that cast photo done. Can you grab that?
Oh, that's a great idea.
So Karen and I were lucky enough to get this photo with the whole cast at Walker Strucker Con. It has Michonne, Lori, Rick, Daryl, Greg Nicotero, Carol, Bob, Sasha, Herschel, T-Dog, Tyrese, Glenn, Andrea, Sophia, Carl, and Beth on there.
It's pretty good.
They've never... I don't think that was the first Walker Strucker Con. You've never had them all together.
That was so fun and crazy.
I should totally do it, right? It's a beautiful photo.
And
we both look good.
Just I gotta
I must say.
who's snuggled up against me?
Daryl.
Yeah.
I think he's asleep. He has his sunglasses on.
He does. And right before that picture was taken, he said, "Come over here, baby."
He didn't want me beside him.
He's like, "Come over here, baby." And all of a sudden,
cute.
I understood the electricity of Norman Reedus. Woo.
So I'm going to get a fracture of that and stick it right up here instead of this panda that Jenny has up here.
2 pandas.
Yeah,
But yeah.
those are quite beautiful. We got that in China, by the way.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You've heard me talk about the packaging, and I wonder if you're like, who cares? Why do I care about
Nope.
the packaging? For me, there's a few things. For one, it's a pleasurable experience opening it up. But also, it's a sign that they care about the details.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to their website, you'll see there, too, it's nice looking and it's easy to use and it's very useful and informative and minimal. And then most importantly, of course, is the product itself. You can really tell that they care about their products and putting everything into it and worrying about the details and stuff like that. And I just love that.
Yeah, it is really fun to get these, and they're beautifully packaged, and yeah, they're great. Harry's is like that too. Harry's has nice packaging.
All these, like I've told you guys before, I only want to advertise for stuff that I really enjoy and like and would feel good about recommending to you guys. So again, if you go to fractureme.com and use promo code GAC, you get 15% off, and we thank Fracture for their support.
Thank you, Fracture.
All right, it's time for listener moans, groans, and grunts.
The first email comes from Katie Palance, who writes, "First, I have to say that I love your Walking Dead cast, but I'm Seattle Seahawks season ticket holder, and I do not believe they pump in crowd noise. Seattle Seahawks fans are loud. In fact, I blame them for premature hearing loss. This past year, I've had to wear earplugs because we all yell so dang loud. I've never noticed artificial noise being pumped in. May a herd of walkers overrun my house if I'm wrong. Go Hawks! Thanks for making my viewing experience more pleasurable." Sure thing.
She's a fan.
Katie, darling. And keep wearing your ear protection. Nobody wants hearing loss from a sporting event.
Almost all the time when someone has something or negative or contradictory to say that of what we've said, they start it by saying how much they love our podcast. But that's very nice. Thank you.
That is very nice. And we love you guys right back. And you know what? You're probably right. I thought I heard that Seattle did that, but you know what? That was probably just a disgruntled 49er fan.
We don't have crowd noise either. It's all real.
Those are actual kids that we keep locked in the closet.
Shut up, you guys. Kathleen Bell says, "I'm confused. I follow a large variety of people on Twitter and didn't see a single negative comment about the Aaron and Eric relationship from those I follow. I also did a search of Walking Dead in Twitter and paged through so many posts of outrage against those who didn't like the relationship. So outrage against those who didn't like the relationship.
Right.
And I had to scroll for some time before I found a single tweet against it. When I heard your show and your comments about the negative reaction, I thought I must have missed something. You have a large number of listeners. What was the number of negative emails you received about it? 10% of the number of downloads? 1%? I went on the internet and there was only one article on HuffPo about negative tweets in which their description really didn't match what I saw when searching. Shouldn't the news really have been that the relationship really didn't matter much to viewers and not that there was a huge outrage?"
Fair question, Kathleen.
I say you're absolutely right. Totally. And what I do every week is I collate the news from Google, Google News. And there were a few articles about this supposed outrage that quoted the tweets. And so when I got your email, what's her name? Kathleen. I went on Twitter myself and looked, and I found some, but it was hard to find. And the overwhelming majority were people who were either mad at the people who were supposedly mad or just straight up supporting it. So you're totally right. I think I fell right in with what other people in the news do, which was just report the bad news, but it's good news. The good news is, at least in what people are saying publicly and the emails that we didn't get one negative email about it. So 0%. So you're right. I mean, it's good news that people are cool with this. So thank you for writing that in. I totally appreciate it.
Kathleen.
Even though you didn't say we had a great podcast before your complaint.
Marty writes, "Great podcast, Jason." Just kidding. Question for you. Do you think they're following the comics too closely or doing just enough things differently?
Yes. I think they're doing great, but I hope they start veering off again soon because I like that they come to it and veer away. And right now they're really damn close. So I'd like it if we get some surprises pretty soon.
Are you pretending not to know what happens when we talk about this?
No, I have forgotten a lot of it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because my brain doesn't work that well.
Age.
But I have been thinking about going back and rereading. I might do that. I am pretending, or at least I'm not mentioning some things that I do know for sure.
Right.
But for the most part, there's a lot of details that I can't remember at all.
They change it up too in unexpected ways.
And it's been years since this storyline came out.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
In comic time?
Yeah, I think I don't even know if where they are in the comics. I don't think the show had started yet, so it was more than 5 years ago.
No
I
kidding.
think.
Wow,
I'll
that's
get
a long
corrections
time.
on that if I'm wrong, but I think so, yeah.
We love your show. You're wrong.
My turn, right? Jacob Major says, did anyone notice the comic book Carl found in the attic said wolves attack on the back? There's so much foreshadowing with the wolves. It has to happen soon. From the W's carved in the walkers' heads to the wolves not far graffiti in several places. I can't wait to see how this is all going to play out. We never talked about that, but there was graffiti when they went to Noah's place, I think, and they saw the W stuff carved on the zombies. We didn't really talk about that.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah,
You're
there's
right.
got to be something with these wolves. He says, also, I think the girl Carl saw climbing the wall was the one who stole Rick's blender gun, Enid. There was a brief shot of her on the outside of Alexandria as Rick and the gang first arrived. Yeah, she was in the house.
She was in the window, and Carl saw her. Mm-hmm. Interesting. We'll see how that plays out. Mo Favo writes, another interesting episode. Couple of minor notes. Where was Father Gabriel? Did they just send him directly to the church to be seen at a much later time? God, that's a good question. I don't know.
I know. I think just they have so many characters now. They have a lot of characters.
They do.
And I think he was off camera,
Yeah,
just off screen.
Yeah. I think it's going to be cool to see the videotapes weaved into the upcoming episodes. Great storytelling device.
I would guess they won't do that it was just a one-off, but
Maybe.
It would be cool if they're longer interviews and we get to see more. Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Don't you wish that Glenn had a chance to respond to Aiden's ROTC training statement with pizza delivery?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. He's still a badass. This episode had the risk of being a transition episode, and with very little danger, managed to have me on the edge of my seat, worried about what might come next. Yeah.
Yep.
Plenty of tension.
Yeah, totally. I loved it. Marissa Halat says, everyone in Alexandria is not very affected by what's happened in the years since the outbreak, but how could they be? They still have video games, showers, and boxes full of food that they don't have to hunt and scrounge for. Our guys, on the other hand, have basically been living like animals for the past 2 years and have retained very little of their former personalities. It was jarring to see them try to act normal in this suburban utopia when it was clear that they are wary of what's coming around every corner. The scene of Rick shaved and in uniform was like time traveling backwards to a time when his character was gentle, giving eulogies for zombies. Aww. Yeah, but the visage is just a facade because his current state of mind is not going to change anytime soon, as evidenced by his last conversation with Carol and Daryl. Is he planning to take his place and become a benevolent dictator, a la the governor?
Dun dun dun.
Boom, boom, we shall see.
Mm-hmm. Matt Massahos writes, just wanted to hear your thoughts on the final scene from last night's episode. I thought the shot was interesting. Clean and tidy Carol above one of Rick's shoulders and dirty and downtrodden Daryl above the other. I feel like everything there is there for a reason. So what are the chances that this was some devil on one shoulder, angel on the other imagery? Some potential foreshadowing to how Rick would be torn between society and survival.
That's interesting. Like I said, I think they're opposites.
Yeah.
But maybe Rick is somewhere in between there.
Maybe. But honestly...
kind of feral, but more acclimated to society than
remember,
Daryl.
Carol's costume is just a costume.
Well, and so is Rick's now, maybe.
Yeah,
his
maybe.
Cop outfit.
Except he might be the law, but he might not be the law on her side.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting image there.
He may be his own law. The constable of Rick Grimes.
Right. Dictator.
Mm-hmm.
Jen Jacobs, hi Jen, says, I think Enid is bad news. Where this is Jen from that we met in San Diego a long time ago.
Love her.
Where was she escaping to with such a huge backpack? And obviously, if only her backpack was smaller, then I would trust her. No, I'm just kidding. And obviously, I'm just kidding. Obviously, she knew Carl was following her since she was able to lose him so fast. I think she's relaying info to another outside group that will try and take Alexandria at some point.
My theory is it's the group that got kicked out. She was somehow related to them or something.
We'll see.
That is a prediction based on nothing from reality.
I mean, all we know is what we've seen.
Right.
Okay, that's it for emails. Let's do some calls. 3 calls this week.
Hey, Jason, Kansas. Timothy Johnson calling back again. And I just have to say, what a great episode. I loved it. So I'm giving it a 999. I would have given it a 1099, but there wasn't much walker action like I was hoping for, so I'm giving it a 999, but this was a fantastic, great episode, and I love this place. Alexandria is great, and Diana, I do not trust her one bit. She reminds me of Mary from Terminus, who I think is bad news. And, well, I cannot wait to hear what you guys say about it. It's going to be great, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Timothy.
I love his accent.
Yeah, see, now here's a guy who won't like it if there's not zombie action.
Right.
That's why he gave it only 9 out of 9.
9 out of 9 is pretty high.
It's pretty good, but if there's no, I mean, yeah, I think it would be cool if they could make a couple of great episodes with no zombies at all, but I don't think they will.
They have to go on runs, supply runs at some point.
Mm-hmm. This is another longtime listener, Idris.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Idris again, the guy with the Vin Diesel-esque voice. Yeah, it was a pretty good episode. I really enjoyed it. I like how, I especially like the interview parts of Captain Janeway interviewing each one. And, I really liked it. Trying to show everybody fitting back into a more civilized group after all the crap they've been through. So I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Glenn and Aiden's confrontation. As soon as I saw, I don't know if you guys are like me, but as soon as I saw Daryl, I already knew he was going to jump on somebody like Wolverine. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, he's going to be whooping somebody's ass. I like how they had to even have Rick pry Daryl off of that guy's throat because he was going to throttle him to death. I loved Carol and her total lie. She was just totally lying to everybody's face there. But you know, I think she's just trying to put up a facade just in case, you know, so they won't see her coming. That's what I think. And Rick kind of scared me at the end of that episode. When he was just like, yeah, you know, if things don't work, we'll just take it from him. I mean, he literally sounds kind of governor-esque there, you know. But this was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. I can tell that we're gonna have Carl's gonna have him a little love interest. You know, I'm not sure what they're gonna do because I kind of stopped reading the comics around this time. I'm not sure what they're gonna do with that woman, the blonde girl that's from American Horror Story. She's looking hot as ever with the blonde hair. She actually kind of looks like I would say Andrea does in the comic. But, you know, whatever. But,
that's true.
You know what? I'll see you guys later. Hope I make it on the show. And as you guys say, don't get big. Oh, and tell Gracie Lou I said hi.
Oh. Hey, Gracie Lou. Idris says hi.
I think she's watching the show right now. She must be done by now. She was watching it when we started. Thanks, man. All right.
Thanks,
one more
Idris.
call. This is our friend Leanne, who we met in Atlanta, right?
Atlanta with her husband,
She's
her
from
new
Toronto.
husband.
Hi, Jason and Karen. It's Leanne from Toronto. I just was listening to your The Distance podcast today, and I laughed out loud when Brian was talking about his hug with Melissa McBride, his loving, loving hug. I got the same one. I did at Walker Stalker Con Atlanta at the end of the con, and I didn't want to bother her. It's just like Brian, and I thought, oh, she's just, you know, packing up to leave. And But she said, no, come on over. And we talked for a little bit, and it was just really relaxing. It was like kind of having coffee with somebody. And then when I was leaving, she kind of just grabbed me and gave me the biggest hug. And I was just thinking like, my God, this woman is just the nicest person. And then I thought, no, well, nobody can be that nice. Maybe her character got killed off. But now I think, no, I think that's just Melissa McBride. I think that's who she is. So, Karen and Jason, my wish for you is that someday maybe, you will both get a hug from Melissa McBride. And it will change your life. Bye.
Aw, thanks, Leanne.
That's awesome. Well, now we know that she's just faking it, so she's not really like that. She's just putting up appearances.
By the way, I think Leanne gave me a big hug, and it was really nice.
She knows how to give hugs.
Your hug changed my life.
If you got two huggers together, it's just a beautiful thing. They just like disappear into each other.
Nice.
No, that was a nice. Yeah, it's a very vivid account. I liked it.
Thanks, baby.
Okay, let's move on to our next segment. That is Comic Talk with Mr. Blog and Gracie Lou. As usual, if you don't want to hear any spoilers, they try to, in the first part of the segment, they talk about similarities and differences with the comic up to now, and then they get into more spoilery stuff for the future. So if you just listen to the first part, it won't be as spoilery. Anyway, take it away, guys.
Hey, everyone, Mr. Blog here.
And Grace.
And wow, this episode 512, remember, I mean, I don't know, do we even need to say anything other than, okay, this is the comic. It was just it, you know?
Oh, I know. It captured it so beautifully.
They did. They just did an amazing job of it. And I mean, I was gushing last week about how well of a job they did with it. I could probably gush doubly as much this time around because this was Alexandria. I mean, almost to a T, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely. And I guess we should say this comes mostly from Volume 12, Life Among Them, specifically issues 70 and 71, I believe.
Yeah, so basically 2 issues was this entire thing. So
almost panel for panels at some times.
At some points, yeah, absolutely. Why don't we go ahead and kick it off? What was the first thing that was just right there?
Yeah, well, just them arriving in Alexandria, meeting Nicholas and Aiden, who we're assuming is Spencer from the comics.
Yeah, I'm going to assume. Now Deanna, the stand-in for Douglas Monroe, did say she has 2 sons, right?
Yes.
So maybe Spencer's the other son, maybe not. I don't know, but I'm taking Aiden to be Spencer.
Yeah, right now I think that's what we should do.
And then Nicholas was sadly missing his mustache.
I know. Where's his porn stash?
Exactly. It was always that defining characteristic of Nicholas was that stupid-looking mustache, but that was not there. Once they get into Alexandria, of course, one of the first things that happens before we do meet Deanna and anybody else is collecting everybody's weapons, right?
Yeah, and we get some line-for-line dialogue from the comic when they're saying, these are still yours. When you leave the gates, you get them back. Very, very similar where Olivia's taking them up there.
Well, and that's just it, Olivia. I don't think she was named in the show, was she?
I don't think so. I didn't catch it if she was.
But that sure as hell was Olivia.
Oh, yeah, that's Olivia.
It was great to see her. I was so happy. I'm like, oh my God, it's Olivia. They didn't say her name. It bugged me. And it was even Olivia who ends up cutting Rick's hair in the book. But of course, that's a little bit changed. But before we get to that, we then have the interview with Deanna Monroe. Again, meant to be Douglas Monroe. But she is still a congressperson from Ohio.
That she is. And did you notice, and I could be wrong on this, but I think she mentioned that her husband's name was Reg, and in the books, Douglas's wife's name is Regina.
Yes.
So that was kind of cute, a little swap there.
But it sounds like Reg is not around anymore. That was the sense I got.
Yeah, that's how I took it. It seemed like she was talking about him in the past tense.
Okay, so that'll be a little bit different. What else happened with Deanna, though? I mean, I had to laugh because, Douglas Monroe specifically talked about keeping his head shaven because he hates dirty hair and growing a goatee because he could never grow a goatee as a congressperson because it looked too sinister, but now he's able to. That just kind of cracked me up. Deanna, of course, no goatee. Still has hair.
No goatee. But she does discuss having to banish 3 people, which might be similar to a story we get a little bit later, where Douglas tells a story with Davidson, and
do you remember
killing him basically?
Well, yeah, but do you remember back when we reading the book that we all thought like, okay, what's the story of Davidson? We're going to get more of the story of Davidson, and then when some other scary character came up later on, ooh, is that really Davidson? And it never panned out. It really just kind of
it was never a big huge story.
Nah, just kind of petered out.
Yeah,
There's one thing I missed. I was hoping that they were going to have this in this interview with Deanna, but it wasn't. But do you remember in the book where Douglas is talking about the horrific story he read?
You really missed that?
Kind of. I that's one of those stories in the book that always stuck out of my head of like, God, that's so horrible, man. And
I don't know. I didn't miss it one bit.
Because I kind of wonder too, the way Douglas wonders in the book, like, how does somebody do that? How do you suck out somebody's eyeballs? I mean, whatever. We're okay. Sorry. Tangent there. And then, of course, after the discussion of the banishment, then Rick gives off to his house, and we get the shower and the shave.
Yeah, which we knew was coming.
Glenn wasn't in there with him, but we still got the reaction afterwards of "Whoa, look at you!"
Yeah, I think it was in the comic. It was Abe, and it was Michonne. It was Michonne in the TV show. So there's some more lines Michonne's getting of Abe's.
Yeah, interesting.
So Abe fans are revolting, probably.
Yeah, they are revolting. Bastard.
Yeah, and
I'm
then,
kidding.
of course, he's meeting Jessie.
Yes.
Which went a little bit differently than in the comics. And like you mentioned earlier, she is the one that cuts Rick's hair, not Olivia.
Very kind of essential haircut, too. She was kind of rubbing up all on his hair and everything. And
you're just saying that because she's cute.
She is cute, but I was a little disappointed to see she was not a brunette.
You think she should be a little brunette with a little bob?
I love that little bob of hers. I really did.
And a little headband.
Yeah, it was great.
She should be the Archie comics.
Totally. And of course, we got the meet. So there's the meet cute with Jessie, but then even before that happened, or right after that, or right around that same time, we get Rick totally panicking about where Carl is.
Yes.
And that, again, straight out of the book.
Straight out of the book. And I like what they did with it. I like the change they made with it, where he was, off visiting with the grandparents that had lost their family, and, kind of tied Judith into it a bit more.
For sure.
Where in the comic, I think he was just off playing with some of the other kids.
Well, they were all playing football. And then, of course, now it's got a bit of a tweak because they're a little bit older. They're probably not going to be out there playing football. But instead, now Carl gets to meet Ron, who we know is Jesse and Pete's son, and Mikey, who is Nicholas's, he of the porn stashes, son, and this new character of Enid, right?
Enid, who, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, she's the new Sophia.
She may be the new Sophia. I'm kind of with you on that one. But it was kind of funny to see, not playing football, but instead now a more modern situation of playing video games. Exactly. Which then, for the TV show, that harkens back to when Rick and Carl were in the claimed house and Carl was wistfully looking at the video games and couldn't play. So that was a nice little touch, I think, to tweak it up a little bit, age them up appropriately. And I don't know, did Ron have a black eye?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he did. But another thing in that scene that caught my attention and makes me think, oh, gosh, just a little flicker was like, I wonder if they're going to do something different with Nicholas and Spencer here, because it's they mentioned that Mikey's dad, Nicholas, is the one with the pool table.
Oh, that's right.
That was kind of a thing with Negan and Spencer later on.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
So I don't know. It's just some weird little flicker when they mentioned the pool table, though. Those are pretty swanky houses.
But that's true. They mentioned a pool table, and that is something that does happen. Man, they are setting up everything perfectly.
Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe that's my mind is working too far ahead.
No, I think it's a wonderful mind. Good job. So what's the next thing that happened?
Well, another thing that happened is they all decide to share a single house, like in the comic. And I think in the comic it was actually Abe that said, no, we're not even sleeping in separate houses, and basically told Rick this is how it's going to go down. And just like in the comic, Deanna walks up like Douglas did and, was like, well, that's a good idea that you're all...
Yeah. Very smart of you.
Very smart of you, in case we turn out to be terrible people.
Well, and of course, in the comic, Douglas shows up to remind Rick, oh, by the way, I didn't tell you before, but we're having Halloween tomorrow, but it's during the day because it's too scary at night. And this time it's to tell Rick that he's got the job as constable, which originally was done in the interview, but that got stretched out
right
a little
away.
bit.
Right.
Yeah, right away. And it was funny, last week we asked this question of, will that be the case? And I think you and Jason were saying, no, it's going to be a little bit longer. And nope, they did it right away.
No, they did it right away. Though it seemed that, at least a day had passed. But yeah, definitely. I that's still happened much sooner than I thought it would. But one thing I noticed that Maggie doesn't seem mad at Glenn for getting the job as a runner, where that was a big deal, little domestic.
Yeah, you're right.
thing.
But did they already get job assignments?
Yeah, it sounded like everyone else besides Rick and Michonne had been assigned jobs at that point.
And Daryl still doesn't have a job.
Yeah, Daryl. Yeah,
that's right, because Carol's going to be making cookies. What is she doing?
Yeah, helping out the old people. Deliver meals and stuff. Yeah.
Interesting. And of course, both Rick and Michonne becoming constables. One of the other thing that was just straight lifted right off the page was Carl telling Rick that these people are weak, and he's worried about becoming weak because of them.
Exactly.
Somebody else, I think, mentions that in the episode as well. But honestly, I glommed onto Carl telling that to Rick, going, "Oh my God, straight out of the book."
Yeah. And another thing, which had you wondering, which didn't dawn on me, but you said when Rick was going back for the gun, is that analogous to having Glenn kind of break into the armory?
Or I'm wondering if this is now going to precipitate Rick going to Glenn to say, we got to get our guns, but maybe that was a stand-in for it. I don't know.
I don't know.
Ultimately, they don't have the gun now. The one gun.
The one gun, yeah.
Do you think Enid took it?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Curious.
So, because she was watching when they arrived, and so maybe she was watching before. Maybe she was out and about watching. I'm not sure.
Maybe. Well, the other thing that happens, and this seems to be, I've heard some other people kind of debating on whether this was a dream, the way it was edited, and this kind of thing, with Rick waking up in the middle of the night and then going for a little stroll.
Really?
He sees this guy sitting there smoking, which you got to question. Really, a surgeon who smokes? Interesting. Okay. Like those old Camel ads, not 4 out of 5 doctors prefer Camel. But he runs into Pete, and I don't think he was named as Pete as such in the show, but we know who that is. It is set up a little bit differently in the book. In the book, Pete is sleeping outside on some patio furniture because he and Jesse had gotten into an argument or something. And Rick was already eyeballing him a little weird by that point already. And I think Rick was just saying, yeah, make sure you get inside when you're fighting because it's going to get cold soon. Here, he's just sitting out there smoking, being creepy.
Yeah, because I think in the comic that their interaction happened after the dinner party where...
Yeah, I think so.
And he had specifically, had asked Ron how he got the black eye. And then in the dinner party, you kind of see where Ron asks Jesse,
actually, Rick asks,
if I can go do something. He's like, she's like, ask your dad. Like, it was kind of odd interactions.
Yeah, because Rick asked about Ron's black eye, I think,
when he first
meets him.
Sure.
Yeah, so there's already been some inquiries into what's going on with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's again, I love seeing this. They're setting it all up. I love that Pete in the show is like, my wife cut your hair, kind of a thing.
Yeah, so it seems like it's making it seem that Pete is maybe a little wary from the beginning, or someone you should be wary of, I should say.
Exactly.
Maybe a little sooner. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of assholes, then of course Aiden, who we're thinking is Spencer, kind of showing his colors a little sooner in the show than it is in the comic. We don't know. We don't quite know how much of a douche he is until a little bit later. Mm-hmm. He is.
he is.
But the show makes it abundantly clear very, very quickly.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Like in the comic, you think, oh, it's cute. Maybe Andrea, is flirting a little bit or whatever. At least talking to a guy, this one, he's a total creep. And I loved Glenn taking him out. That was not in the comic, but it was wonderful nonetheless.
Well, and then there's one last thing.
Yes, our last big thing is Rick saying that, if they needed to, that they would take Alexandria for their own, straight from the comic there.
Yeah. And I think that's the way they end issue 71, isn't it? It's like the last page. I think that pretty much covers it for everything that happened. Yeah, I mean, this may have been jumbled, a little bit out of order, but man, there was so much stuff that happened.
Yeah.
It was, there was almost nothing that's like made up, outside of just the whole thing being made up. But outside of the source material, it just really, I was so impressed that they managed to really turn a comic into this much of a show in the way that they did it.
Some of the changes they made, I really liked.
Oh, for sure.
Deanna and, a couple of things they did. I thought, oh, wow, that's really great.
Oh, hell yeah, it was great. So last little item we have to cover is we did get an email from Mark Dubravek? Sorry, man. I just slaughtered your name. I'm terrible with names. Mark Dubravek. We're going to go with that. And he says, great show, guys. My thoughts. Spoilers ahead. All I kept thinking throughout this episode is that Deanna had been searching for a group of people like Rick's. The Alexandria group are weak, as this episode reveals. The only way they are surviving is by giving tribute to Negan, or a character like him who we haven't seen yet. By finding Rick's group, Deanna now has a weapon against this Negan-like character. No one mentions this threat because only Deanna, politician that she is, has dealt with him so far. But that won't last. What do you think about that?
I don't think so. I think even in the comic, Douglas was really matter of fact of why they wanted him there. I think they're, he even said something that, how Rick's group is more well equipped to deal with, anything, he says. They wanted people from the outside world. So I don't know.
I agree with you. I don't think that is the case. Okay, it would be the case if, I keep railing against this. If people are trying to be really impatient and trying to get Negan into the story this soon, sure, that would make sense. And that would be a way that you could do it. But I don't think Alexandria is aware of the rest of the world out there yet. And I don't think that they would be sending Eric and Aaron out if there was something like Negan,
right?
Out there.
I think they'd be being much more cautious.
Much more cautious. There'd be more guards. All these kind of things, So I think it's, I can see where you're coming from with it. I'm not saying I can't see that. And if the show is going to rush the storyline, but I think that would be... Personally, that would just break my heart if they rushed it too quick, because I still believe we have a lot of ground to cover before we get to Negan. And I'd say just hold your horses. Lucille and Negan.
I want to see it. I want to see it. All that comes before.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I want to see all that.
See Lucille.
Well, and let's put this in perspective. This is then issue 71. It is until we don't meet Negan until issue 100.
Right.
That is 29 more issues to get through. And if this one episode took up 2 issues, and if all of season 1 took up 6, it's
we have a ways.
We have a ways to go. So yes. I'd say look more towards the herd coming, and look towards Jesus. What, that sounded weird. Look towards Paul Monroe. I don't think related to Douglas Monroe. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about it.
Yeah, me too. That's
cool.
Good.
All right. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.
All right, we're back, and it's time for next week on The Walking Dead.
Next week on The Walking Dead, Season 5, Episode 13. It's hard to believe that we're plowing through these episodes so fast. The episode is Forget, and the description I have is Rick and the group continue to acclimate to their new surroundings. Will they be able to go back to normalcy? Better yet, what is normal now? What is the new normal? And
it sounds too much like this episode.
Yeah, I know, right? I saw a couple previews. I saw the one that you saw that had Rick
complaining about,
are we getting played?
He's like, why would she, what did he say? Give people she doesn't know
power.
Right,
exactly. And that's a good question. There were also 2 other previews that I saw that were great. Both of them had to do with Sasha. One is Sasha getting target practice on some framed photos, which was hilarious. And another one of Sasha talking to one of the local girls while she's getting her weapon that she uses to do shooting practice on the framed photos. And the local gal is talking to her about, hey, if you're out there and you happen to get a wild boar, can I have a leg? Because I make prosciutto. I was into it before this all went down. And then she sort of waxes on about, oh man, pickles. I really would like pickles.
Wait, so Sasha's job is to go out and look for supplies or something?
Possibly. Okay. Or maybe she's going out and looking for hunting. Yeah, maybe she's a hunter.
Hunter.
So she's getting a weapon and she's going out there, but I just love that
that's what she wants to do. Yeah, of course.
Get a hog leg for prosciutto.
You want to hear a quote from my Sonequa Martin Green interview?
Yes.
Okay, here it is.
That's beautiful.
I know.
Sonequa Martin.
I told her right away, I'm glad you did more of a classic zombie. And then she's like, oh, wait, I messed up. They don't even sound like that. And I'm like, no, that's good. I missed the old moaning zombies. I don't think she believed me. I think she thought I was just trying to be nice. But it was true.
How many cast members do we have now? Zombie Sounds for?
Well, I lost a hard drive at one point. So, they're all like on our podcast.
Yes.
So I can go back and cut them out. But that will take work.
Maybe a listener, an enterprising listener would cut them out and get our zombie sounds from all of our guests. That would be hilarious.
That would be awesome. Ready to close it out?
I am.
All right, that's our show, episode 174. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
I want to thank our friend Kirk Manley, who sent me a box of his tribute posters, which is totally awesome. So Kirk sent me, those tribute posters you guys have probably seen where he draws each episode. And they're the ones that we gave out to you guys for the contest winners. And there's a couple of these I'm definitely going to keep for myself, but I'm also going to give them out for contests and stuff like that. They're great. Just recently, I hope Kirk approves of this, but I asked a couple of our listeners to transcribe to those 2 interviews I did recently so we can give them to news sites. And Paige Allen and Lynn Neal did that, so I'm going to send them each one of those.
Oh, fantastic.
Posters.
Oh, I love them so much.
Oh, and by the way, you can find Kirk Manley's stuff on studiokm.com.
Oh, they're great. They're great.
Those are really cool. So I'll give you one, too, if you want one.
I haven't done anything to earn it.
You can have more than one. As many as you want.
If I vote.
You got to vote every day. If you'd like to call us, you can call us at 650-485-DEAD. That's 650-485-3323, or click the send voicemail button on our website.
You can write to us at brains@walkingdeadcast.com.
You can check out our website with lots of Walking Dead news and information at walkingdeadcast.com. And thanks to all you guys who click through our Amazon link on there whenever you shop at Amazon.
We're also on Twitter at Jason and Karen, on Tumblr at walkingdeadcast.tumblr.com, and on Facebook at facebook.com/deadcast.
And we don't promote this much, but we typically broadcast live. And that's Mondays at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Or sometimes we start a little earlier, 4:15, 4:30. I'll tweet it out. But if you're interested in that, it's fun to talk with the other people in the chat room, and every once in a while Karen and I look in there and talk with you guys, and that's at walkingdeadcast.com/live. Also want to remind you guys, Podcast Awards voting starts right now, so drop whatever you're doing, go to podcastawards.com and vote for us if you want us to win.
Save the kitten.
And you got to vote every day or the kitten dies.